Yes.
Get ready to take control of your own financial destiny. It's time to build your dream business. Welcome to the Empowered Entrepreneur.
This just got exciting.
With your host, Spider Graham. Your education starts now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the broadcast. This is Spider Graham, and this time around, I want to talk about a very important topic, not only for business and our success moving forward, but also just for peace of mind and making us into better people. And that is the process of letting go of past failures. Now, guess what? It's probably not a shock to anybody that not everything you're going to be setting out to do is going to be perfect. I don't know about you, but I've certainly had my share of fall down in your face moments in my life. And the real difference here between the people who are successful and the people who just curl up into a fetal position when things happen like that are that they're able to say, okay, what did I learn from my mistakes and what can I do with that information going forward to do a better job and certainly not make that mistake again. So one of the important considerations when we make any kind of mistake or mess up our lives in some significant way is instead of beating ourselves up over it for the rest of eternity, we take that information and we say, okay, I'm going to learn from this. I'm not going to make that mistake again. And so much of what we do in life is like building muscles. It's just you have to go through that phase of really stressing yourself out a little bit and getting a little sore and sometimes falling down in order to become effective in what you do. And the analogy I often use is learning to ride a bicycle. And fortunately, most of us were young and stupid enough to not give up when we fell down and skinned our knees several times, or our elbows, or fell off. And I don't know about you, but riding a bicycle was not something that was an automatic slam dunk for me at the age of 6. I fell down a number of times, but I kept going because what I wanted was to ride a bicycle, a two-wheeler. That was the goal. And so by setting this goal and falling down a bunch of times, I learned from my mistakes till eventually I was able to ride a bike without falling over. So that's really what we're doing in life. And we're going to try all sorts of things. And guess what? We're going to fall down. And we're going to try to do something for the first time and we're not going to do it well or even right. And I've dealt with this as a parent working with my children and, dealing with homework issues and I can't write this paper. Well, why can't you write the paper? Every time I write it, it's just stupid. Okay, well, guess what? It's the first time you've written a paper. And the more times you write a paper, the better you get at it. The better you get at it. It's practice like anything else. What makes you think you're going to do it perfectly the first time anyway? And so we have to give ourselves a little bit of credit and a little bit of an excuse when it comes to doing things we've never done before and to say, okay, I'm not going to be really good at this right off, but I'm going to keep at it and I'm going to learn from my mistakes and I'm going to move forward. So there are all sorts of little defeats in our lives, things that really are just feedback loops that tell us that we can improve the way we do things, that we can do a better job on something that we may not be doing such a good job on right now. So that's a huge plus. The problem we run into from an adult standpoint is that there are a lot of past defeats that we have not let go of. There are a lot of things that we did, some major screw-ups, some of us. Some of us did a really good job in our teen years of doing some really idiotic and regretful things. And as a result, we have to be able to let them go. We have to find a way to give ourselves permission to let them leave our lives. Now, this is a lot easier said than done. One of the challenges I think we all face is that we look upon the sum of everything that we've experienced in our lives as part of who we are. And that includes our mistakes. It includes our failures. And I have to tell you, in my life, I look at some of my biggest failures and I think about them with a certain level of, it may sound strange, but fondness, because without going through that ordeal, without going through that level of difficulty, I would not have learned some of the important things that I know today. So as much as I didn't like failing, as much as I didn't like being put in a position where I felt horrible, it helped shape me into who I am today. We can see this all over the place. By the way, it doesn't have to be necessarily dire, but we can learn an awful lot from adversity. Let me give you an example. Several years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I had an opportunity to go through an Outward Bound type program. And we had a winter camping expedition that was part of this program. And on the first night we were out, and this is in the wilds of Vermont, northern Vermont at that, the first night we were out, and this is survival camping. We didn't have tents. We didn't have a lot of things. We had sheets of plastic. We had some clothesline. We had a knife. We were roughing it. absolutely roughing it. Not a lot of great food. We all had the same food, and it wasn't really exciting stuff. This was about survival camping. Well, the first night we were out, we had to make our own shelter. So we took whatever materials we had available to us, and we created lean-tos. We created things that would protect us from the wind and the night. Now, this particular night, it was 16 below zero Fahrenheit. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Fahrenheit, from a centigrade standpoint, that's much, much, much colder, like 32 something below zero. Okay, it's a very, very cold night. And the thing about it is, if you were sitting at home in front of a roaring fireplace with the TV going and enjoying a beer, and someone walked into the room and said, "Hey guys, it's going to be 16 below zero tonight. Who wants to go camping?" None of you would be stupid enough to raise your hands. You don't want to put yourself in that level of adversity in that position. But the reality is there we were in the wilderness, nothing we could do about it. And yes, it's cold. And yes, it's hard to sleep. And yes, it's challenging. But we didn't die. None of us. We managed to survive the night, and then we went on for 3 more days after that of hiking through the mountains in Vermont to get back to where we started from. All right? Now, what I remember very clearly is, first of all, the miracle of indoor plumbing. A shower is a beautiful thing. But secondarily was my reflection on what this adversity had done to me, what this 4 days in the wilderness had done to me, that had changed my life and has still changed my life forever. And that is, it had taken this artificial ceiling of what I expected out of myself away. It had raised it so much higher because it just stretched me in a brand new way, a way I would never go in by myself. And as a result, I was able to find a new type of respect for what I had accomplished and new confidence that I could continue to accomplish things like this in the future. So this is adversity. And this is, frankly, the kind of thing that could kill you. And most of us don't ever deal with this level of adversity. We deal with things that are regrettable. We hurt other people. We hurt ourselves. We hurt our parents. We just are inconsiderate, whatever it is, but we can get over it. And we can learn from it and say, you know what? I don't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to do those kind of stupid things. So I'm not going to do them anymore. Okay? Yeah, I got into a near car accident. That could have killed me. That was stupid. I'm not going to misbehave using a car again in the future. That kind of thing. So by giving ourselves permission to take the negativity and turn it into a positive learning experience is incredibly important. Guess what? On the other side of this, not all adversity is stuff you did to yourself. A lot of the adversity that we deal with in life is stuff that happened to us. And the same thing goes for that. You have to give yourself permission to let that go as well. Look, I had a very poor relationship with my father. We were never friends. And when I left home, I never went back again. I'm not incredibly proud of this as an adult, and I'm sure it could have been handled in different ways. But at the time, what I was dealing with was my relationship with a man who was never nice to me and was often abusive. And so I didn't want any more of that in my life, and I dealt with it the way I dealt with it. It took years for me to get past the hurt and the anger that I felt regarding my father, to the point where I was able to say, you know what? That's the past. And what I learned from this man about myself is valuable. By the way, what I learned from this man about how to be a good parent is invaluable. My children have no idea how they've benefited in a way that seems really paradoxical, but they have. I was able to give them a much better childhood than what I experienced as a result of what I went through. Now, that's an aside. The challenge that I faced as a human being is being able to look back on this and say, it's positive, okay? It's not happy, and it's not necessarily something I want to repeat, but it's a positive experience if I use it in a positive way, and I have. And so by giving myself permission to let the garbage go, let it go, and not carry the anger and the hatred and the hurt around, allows me to go to a new place. It allows me to take this adversity in my life, this negativity, and turn it into a positive. It allows me to also just get away from the things that can drag me down and hold me back. Because here is the main point. our past failures are in no way indicative of our future successes. Let me repeat that. What we've done in the past, how we failed in the past, has nothing to do with how we're going to succeed in the future. Yeah, okay, you made mistakes. Yeah, life happened to you. Things bad, good, whatever. All these things occurred. But you can't stay there. You don't live in the past. You live right now. And if you keep looking back, well, I'm just a screw up. I can't do anything right. Or the reason I'm such a mess is because I had a bad relationship with my family or whatever. Those are excuses. What you can do, however, is you can make that all go away by simply giving yourself permission to let it go. Forgive the people who have hurt you. Forgive yourself. Find a new path and use that understanding and how it's helped you evolve to where you are today as a way to help light the path going forward. You're still going to make mistakes, by the way. You're still going to screw things up in the future. I don't want to burst your bubble, but that's the way life is. But you're also going to create some amazingly cool things with your life. You're going to do some really wonderful things. You're going to make other people happy. You're going to change other people's lives in a good way. You're going to change your own life in a good way. But you first need to give yourself permission to not let the past define you. Okay? Use it as a good learning tool, but it has nothing to do with who you're going to turn into tomorrow. All right? Anyway, don't want to beat that one to death, but I really want you to walk away with an understanding that you are an evolving person. You are someone who is constantly changing, and that means the good things that have gotten you here and the bad things that have happened to you are also part of what got you here. Make it a positive, make it work to your advantage, and move toward the future with a lot more confidence in yourself and in your capabilities. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you so much for your time and attention. As always, it's such a pleasure to be able to share these moments with you. And hey, come join us on spidergram.com. A lot more to share there. A lot of learning in the digital media space and entrepreneurial and some of these life lessons that we like to share from time to time. And we're learning from one another. There's some fantastic people who are taking what they know about the world and sharing it with others and helping us all arrive at a new destination. And would love to have you join us there. This is Spider Graham. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you real soon.
For more free resources and advice for entrepreneurs, visit spidergram.com and become a subscriber today.